All right, so in the video before this, we just talked about how to label triangles, talked about Pythagorean theorem, and when we add all three angles, it gives you 180 degrees. Now, the other part is information, like almost the last part of information that you need to know. When we were trying to find a missing angle, so in this last time, on the last example, we found the missing side. This time we're going to try to find the missing angle. But when we do that, we must deal with our inverse trig functions. Trig functions. So the inverse trig functions, that means sine to -1, cosine to -1, tangent to -1. So again, we're not going to say sin and cos and tan. We call it sine, cosine, and tangent. All right, so we're going to use these here when it comes to example 3. Again, when we're trying to find a missing angle, we use the inverse. And you'll see what we're talking about. And we'll deal with this more when it comes to law of sines and law of cosine too later on. All right, so here it says example 3 is going to find angle A. And then round your answer to the nearest tenth place. So here we have a triangle ABC, sorry. And they gave us that side C is 15. So side C is 15. Because remember, across from it, angle C is here, across from that is side C. Angle A is across from it, side A. And this is angle B, so it's across from it, side B. All right, so what we have to do is figure out, well, first off, let's go and label it, because we're talking about angle A. So we're looking at this angle right here. That's what they told us. So we're going to label that, and we're going to have to label our sides using this angle. So you're looking at this angle, the side that's opposite of it is the one that's across. So it means this is opposite. We know that the longest side is always the hypotenuse. And then on this side here, we know this is adjacent. It's right next to the angle. So again, if it's next to the angle, it's adjacent. If it's across from the angle, it's opposite. If it's the longest side, it's hypotenuse. All right, so they gave us angle A, that we're trying to find angle A, and they gave us side C and they gave us side B. They gave us the adjacent side and the hypotenuse side. So if you remember back from SOHCAHTOA, from what we had earlier, that means we're using cosine. Because remember, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And if you think about it, why do we use angle A right there? Oh my gosh, Mr. Hall, what do we do that for? Oh my gosh. Because they want us to find angle A. So we use angle A to figure out everything up there. Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's go ahead and put everything in. So our adjacent side is 7. Our hypotenuse is 15. All right, so far it's easy, that's simple, but we still haven't found angle A yet. So we got to find angle A. What do we do? What do we do? Remember back up here we said we had to do our inverse trig functions? So for this problem, we're going to have to do an inverse trig function. Inverses. The inverse. All right, so when we do this, we're going to do, since it's cosine right here, that means we have to do cosine inverse. And you're probably like, well, Mr. Hall, why do we have to do all that stuff? That doesn't make sense. I'm so confused. The whole thing is, one thing that if you haven't learned it already, an inverse function and the actual original function cancel each other out. So that means when we do our inverse here, we actually get to cancel out the sine and cancel out the cosines here. Sorry, blah blah blah. Let me take this screen off. All right, so here again, we said they cancel out. So cosine inverse and cosine cancel out. So we're left with just A equals cosine inverse of 7 over 15. And so we need to put that in the calculator exactly as we have it right there, so we can go ahead and get her done. So let's go and do that. So I pulled up my calculator now, and I'm going to go ahead and put in cosine inverse. So here, if you look at it right here is where cosine inverse is. It's in blue. So that means here when we do when we put it into calculator, take this off. There we go. Oh no, come back, calculator, come back. There we go. All right, so when we put in the calculator, we're going to do the blue button, second cosine inverse. We're going to do the fraction bar. So alpha y equals, and then number 1. I'm going to do 7 over 15. Then we close our parenthesis. And we have to hit enter. Oh, there we go. Enter. And we get approximately like, uh-oh, what happened? That's not the right answer. What did we do wrong? What did we do wrong? Make sure we're in the correct mode, because I bet you I'm in radian mode right now, because this is not the right answer. Look at that. Radian mode. We have to be in degree mode, because we're talking about degrees here. So make sure we're in the right mode. And then we go, bring it back up again. There we go. I like that one better. It looks a whole lot better. So here, we'll say that our answer is, uh-oh. Let's say our answer is 6.2. Oh, sorry guys, had technical difficulty there. So I say A is approximately 62.2 degrees. And that's it. So inverse when we're trying to find angles.